Lies. This can't be normal. And if you're not that, then you're not her.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to I Wish I Knew, the podcast where we talk about the things that, you guessed it, we wish we knew. In case you missed it, I'm Rachel McDonagh, a senior organizational communications major at Assumption University. In the last episode, Unrelated, my sister and I talked all things relationships. While building relationships is an essential human need, they can be one of the biggest stressors in our lives. We strive for every relationship to be perfect, healthy, and smooth going, because why wouldn't we want that? But the reality is, not every relationship we build will be successful. Oftentimes we get too caught up in what others think or how we're being perceived on social media, or maybe just feel pressured by generational norms. All of that stress and worry is just taking away from building genuine human connections and figuring out who your true people are. And just like Olivia said, whatever is meant for you will not pass you. For this episode, I wanted to focus more on the girlies. It's no secret that being a woman has historically been difficult. But as a young woman who has grown up in the 21st century, I wanted to reflect on how far women have come while also exploring how much we have yet to grow in society. One of my all-time favorite movies is about a teen girl posing as her twin brother to attend a private school to play soccer. This movie takes a comedic approach to women living in a man's world. It challenges gender roles and shows the lengths women have to go just to follow their dreams. And that's why the theme of today's episode is She's the Man. If you have not seen this movie, I promise you're missing out. When I was thinking of who I wanted as my guest today, my mind immediately went to one of the funniest, trendiest, and realest people I know. My cousin Sabrina. So Sabrina, welcome and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I'm from Maynard, Mass, which is a very, very small town that no one ever knows. I'm 21. I go to school at Suffolk University in downtown Boston. I'm majoring in global cultural studies and communication and minoring in social media, which has been super cool. In my free time, love to vibe and go get coffee.
She vibes.
I vibe a lot. It's my main hobby. I did a semester in Madrid. Think about it every day of my life. Best time of my life.
It looked like a dream. Okay, so let's get into our first segment, talking about overall expectations about girlhood. Womanhood. I feel like a big part of, womanhood as a whole is just the generational roles of it all. I feel like over time, through different generations, the way that women are perceived or treated has changed a lot.
Yeah.
If you think of, the olden days,
The olden days!
think of your grandparents and even before that,
Yeah.
They I feel like...
They're property, no?
They were
Is that what you're
property,
getting at?
yeah.
We were talking, our grandmother is currently here from Ireland, and we were talking about how you'd have to pay the family or something, or the husband or something, for them to, marry your daughter or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. So I asked my dad how much I was worth, and he laughed at me, but...
Oh my god.
But yeah, it's crazy talking to our grandmother and just seeing the difference between, she was what? Married off, shipped off at 17?
Yeah.
Shipped
I
off
think
to
so.
work, got married by 20 or something?
Yeah.
I'm 21, I can't even imagine that.
I don't know what it was like for her back then,
Yeah.
but she worked. She had 5 children.
She had 5 children.
She raised.
Full-time working.
Her own B&B.
Her own everything.
And, I just couldn't imagine, living in that day.
They were talking about last night, they remember when they got electricity.
That's wild.
And I said to my dad, I wouldn't last a day. I said I need 3 devices at all times.
We're in a Tesla right now.
Literally, we're in a car. I mean,
Nothing.
granted, I walk a lot of places because I live in a city, but, they had to walk. I'll
Right.
just call an Uber if I want to,
Right, they didn't have an
Uber,
option.
Lyft, whatever.
Anything. But we also don't realize they didn't have, rights.
As much as, it feels now that women don't have, or our rights are getting taken away, Roe v. Wade, whatever, they genuinely didn't have any rights.
Right. And, that's only the United States. You gotta think of,
Oh, yeah.
other countries are so much worse.
Well, what's, Saudi Arabia or something just recently allowed women to get their driver's license.
Really? I didn't even
a
know
couple
that.
years ago or something.
There was the expectation of get married young,
Have children young.
have children, take care of the children, take care of your husband, stay at home, do all the domestic chores and cooking and cleaning, and that was basically it.
That was it. That was their
look the
job.
Dress up the movie Don't Worry Darling.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like exactly how women were treated and how they should have acted back then of,
For
like,
sure.
get dressed every morning all nice and pretty for your husband and then cook and clean.
Which, like, I get dressed and get ready, but, like,
Yeah.
that's for myself. Like,
Right.
just because I like looking and feeling good.
And then it was, like, they weren't really allowed to get jobs.
No.
I think it was only, like, after, World War II?
Probably.
That they were allowed to get jobs.
And that was only because the men were missing, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think over time, things have gotten better. So then if you think of, like, our mothers and...
Oh, yeah.
It was different expectations. You get your education, you go to college.
Get married.
You get married, you have a kid. And I feel like it was, you can work, but you don't have to, but you work until you have kids. And
Exactly.
then that's it.
And then it's like, oh, you're going back to work? You don't care about your children?
Right.
You're not going to raise them?
Yeah. So now I feel like for us, it's more...
It's more accepting, but at the same time, like, if you tell somebody you don't want kids, automatically it's like, well, why not?
Yeah, that's the big thing.
Which, like, also I feel our generation, there's just so much, like, everyone's eyes are so open as to, like, how everyone's getting their rights taken away, how, like, the climate change, whatever.
Yeah.
It's impacting everyone.
Right.
So, like, it's valid at this point to not want kids, and then to have, like, older generations, even just our generation, to be like, well, why don't you want kids? Like,
Yeah.
that's not saying, like, it's your whole purpose, but, like, we should be procreating. Like, you don't want to continue your family, whatever.
Exactly.
But it's, like, even, like, the price of living is astronomical.
It's so expensive.
It's, like, and then to have people being on you about why you would rather be, like, impoverished with children than have, like, financial freedom.
Yeah.
And
do what you want to do.
do what you want to do, either be on your own, be, like, in a relationship, whatever.
It's okay to not
Unfair.
want kids if that's
If
what
that's
you want to do.
your lifestyle, then that's your lifestyle. Like, be like the cool aunt.
Right. Like, just because you're a woman doesn't mean you have to have
Yeah.
children if you don't want them. In society, there's just so many stereotypes of what women should do, what women should look like, how women should act. And I feel like people are starting to break the stereotypes now in the best way possible, but it hasn't always been like that.
Yeah.
And I think growing up, we were always shown what the stereotypes were and that we should follow in that path. And not to say that some of the stereotypes are necessarily bad, but it's just kind of putting people in boxes, and that's not what life is about. Life isn't about, like, going by the rules of, like...
Person who decided.
Yeah. I don't know, what would you say some of the, overall stereotypes of women would be? Like, mother.
Mama.
Housewife.
Put others before you.
Yeah.
Which kind of falls into mama.
People think that women are not as intelligent as men, or not as strong as men, or that, like, we value superficial things rather than, like, meaningful things, you know what I mean? And that's just not true.
I mean, it can be true, but it's true on both sides.
Exactly. Like, women can be strong mentally and physically, like, just as much as a man. There's certain job stereotypes.
Yeah.
Like, you have the nurse,
teacher,
which are all great jobs, and
don't get us wrong.
Come on, but you would never see a woman be, like, an engineer or a plumber or...
I don't think I've ever seen no female plumber.
I haven't either, but that's not to say that they're not out there.
Oh no, shout out to our female plumbers.
Woo!
We love ya.
But any of, like, the hard labor jobs or...
They were doing construction at the end of my street, and there was, like, the person in charge was a woman, and I was like, okay, I see you!
Another overall expectation that I think women face is, like, double standards. In every part of life. With a job, I mean, unequal pay, that's not something new. Sports.
Oh yeah, like Caitlin Clark, she's her, did you hear about that? Her starting salary is, less than a fine somebody got for yelling at a ref.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, women's sports are not given as much attention as men's sports, which, depending on I'm not a big sport watcher
that's valid.
in general, but, like...
But,
the ones that deserve it.
I think the generation right now of, women college basketball players and going to the NBA, the March Madness women's, I don't know if it was final or semifinal, like, most watched game ever of college basketball, yeah. I'm pretty sure. And, like, everyone loves Caitlin Clark, and I feel like she's kind of paving the way. Along with, I forget which year, but, like, 2015 or something, the United States women's national soccer team.
Yes.
That was, like, hyped up, but now it's, like, I don't know if I'm not just into soccer as much, but I feel like it's kind of fallen out.
Yes. I took a class one time and we talked about feminism, like how women are treated in the same roles as men and how it's different. Like, if you're a woman boss and you're kind of stern with your workers because things need to be done, you're seen as mean. But if you're a man, you're seen as powerful.
Like, what's that movie, the Proposal? Sandra Bullock's the boss and Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
Even her, like, granted, she doesn't seem that nice as a boss.
Right.
But it's like, I don't know.
Like, if that was a
first
man,
moment that came to me.
no one would think twice about it.
No one would be, like, texting, she's coming!
Right.
Or whatever, yeah.
Another expectation that we kind of follow as young girls is, like, the social media of it all.
Yeah.
Which is so hard. I mean, I got social media when I was in, like, 6th grade.
I think I got even younger.
Like, I know I got, like, Snapchat and, like,
I got Snapchat way too young, and that is
young.
all because of Rachel's sister.
Oh my god, Olivia? Yeah. Stop.
But, like, I should not have had Snapchat that young.
No, it was so young. I got it anyways, and then it just turned into, like, a spiral of comparing
Yeah.
and copying.
Yeah.
In the sense of, like, I'm gonna mimic this because I think this is cool and popular.
Yeah.
But that's just so detrimental.
Yeah.
Especially, like, with body image.
Growing up with that.
Yeah. Body image and self-confidence and you comparing yourself constantly to
And then
others.
the like count, too. Yeah.
Like, if you weren't breaking 100...
If you weren't... No, early days of Instagram, if you weren't breaking that, like... It wasn't just the usernames and it was, like, the number. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Then you gotta delete your post.
Literally.
You gotta delete it.
But also, can we talk about the trends that we grew up with on social media of rate me,
Like for TBH.
like for TBH, like for TBR, to be rude. What?
Oh, I never did that.
Oh, I got one of those.
Would
Like,
I date you?
what are those? And then there would be other things where you would literally post your friends, and then people would be like, vote which one to get rid of next.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing? We're literally
What are we doing?
It's like competition of, okay, who's the most popular?
And obviously, when you get voted, you're like, okay, let's keep going.
You're like, wow.
But then once you're voted off, it's like, what the hell?
You're like, what the heck? I think that was just so toxic.
Or now, also, have you ever seen those, like, TikToks, like, people will be like, rate this girl on a scale of 1 to 10. And it's like, if you're not giving other girls a 10, what are you doing?
Right. But, like, why is that even a thing? It's that, like, validation that people need because that's what everyone expects of others. And, like, that's what they value themselves, which is so bad. I feel like for the longest time, like, I valued my self-image based on others,
Yeah,
especially social media, because I'd be like, okay, like, you would see quote-unquote the popular girls, like, post a certain way or go to a certain place and post, and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna start doing that because they're they can do it, then I can do it. All the what I eat in a days are, like, don't get me wrong, like, I get sucked into those videos and, like, go down a spiral, but then in my brain that translates to, well, what did I eat today? Yeah. And, like, oh my gosh, like, I feel fat today, like, I need to go on a diet.
So much more than this person, you know.
Like, first of all, who cares what you eat in a day? That is your own personal journey. You don't need to... Everybody's different.
And also, like, the amount of food differs for each person, too. Like, you don't know what their... Metabolism, their, like, health... Like, if they have to be eating more of one thing, whatever.
Even if you have good intentions of, like, you're on your own health journey and you're just documenting it, it's tough because that is going to affect someone else, probably negatively, because they're looking at you and thinking, okay, well, this person is ideal in my head and I'm not doing that.
One thing that I think is, like, dangerous, but at the same time, like, I understand how it's, like, healthy for the person. It's, like, people who are, like, recovering from eating disorders.
Yeah.
Like, posting what they eat in a day. Because, like, I feel like if you're in that mentality, it's already hard enough to think about food. And if you're going through the motions to just, like, post about it, like, I feel like that can be...
Of course.
But then at the same time, if the wrong person gets it, it's like, this person with anorexia is only eating this much, I should be eating less of that. So it's like...
It's like a lose-lose. It's just a tough thing to navigate, and I just hate that, like, that's kind of what our... like, world has come to, because food and, like, self-image and social media has caused so much mental damage, I think, on young girls that the other generations didn't have because they didn't have social media. Growing up, we hear so much more now about body image and what people care about their appearance, rather than my mom. Like, I don't think I've ever heard her talk about when she was a kid how...
This person did this.
Right. She's like, I could care less what I, like, looked like. But I don't think they had as many issues with body image.
At least not discussed.
Publicly, right. To go off of that, I think, along with social media, we look at the things we grew up with. So, TV shows, movies, games, like, those...
I'd say books.
Books. The ideals of women were portrayed as what society, like, wanted them to be. So, for example, like, in TV shows, the girls would always be super, super girly and sensitive and kind of dumb.
And if they weren't, then it's like...
Then you're a nerd and you're weird. And I feel like every TV show had different stereotypes of women. And now looking back, like we were talking earlier, in like Wizards of Waverly Place, Selena Gomez was the cool,
nonchalant,
girl, like
whatever.
And then her friend Harper was like the fat girl.
Like the fat weirdo.
She was not.
She wasn't,
fat.
I mean, some of her clothes were a little weird.
Her clothes were wild, but that was her character. But even beyond the character of the TV show, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, like she's large."
Fatty over here.
Yeah.
There's just always like competition in a show when there's two like main characters, or even just like one main, one whatever. There's just that competition.
And I feel like that kind of affected how we
perceived
ourselves growing up, and like with our friendships. It's just it sucks. And then just the psychology of it all with innate traits between men and women. I mean, obviously there's things in life that we can't control, and I feel like that does play a role, like that is part of consideration when you're talking about this topic. Like,
women for the most part do have like a nurturing, like innate sense.
100%. We're more nurturing, we're more sensitive.
Like, that's why people say women can't be a president, because they're like so emotional and irrational that they could start a war in a second.
Oh my god. That's whack.
Like, press the big war button, because that's how stuff works.
Right. Like, we're more about our feelings, and we're more passive and submissive in the sense of we're not...
That's just what we
know
to do.
We're not going to be assertive. We're going to be told what to do. And
I mean, shout out the women who are.
Yeah.
But, like, if a man is, like... If I'm saying to go one way, and then the man is saying to go the other way, guess which way we're going.
Right. Exactly.
And then in the end, when I'm right, it's like, well, I told you guys it was this way. It's like,
you so.
No one cares.
Right, no one cares. It's like, oh, well,
you should have said it louder.
I figured it out in the end.
Yeah.
So now we're going to get into our own personal experiences. There are so many things that are just women-centered in life that I think are pretty cool, but at the same time are a lot that people just kind of undermine.
Yeah.
Like periods.
Yeah.
Which suck.
Yeah.
Like, if we're being honest.
TBH.
And there's so many things that come with it than just the actual period. Like, you have...
pain.
The symptoms. But
the
symptoms may come differently every month.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that happens for you, but it happens for me. And it's just something that you can never predict. And I feel like...
And you just have to, like, suck it up.
You have to suck it up.
Take 2 Advil and suck it up.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, what if I just need a minute?
You don't get a minute.
No.
Sorry, babe.
Does it kind of affect your mental? I feel like it does for me.
Well, I probably am, like, a little bit more emo. Or, like, thinking, like, wait, but, like, why now?
Why now?
Like, or, like, why am I upset?
For no reason.
Yeah.
It just...
About something that, like, I usually wouldn't be, or, like, whatever.
Yeah,
or it's just heightened emotions, I guess.
Yeah, that happens to me, too. Also, the fact that we have to buy our supplies every month.
That's so funny. Me and my roommate, like, literally, like, sparingly were like, do you have any? And I'm like, let me search through all my bags.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't want to go spend $15 on it.
Exactly. Like, I want to spend my money somewhere else, but I'm sorry, I have to buy these $8 tampons.
No, it's stupid. And then it's like, okay, well, like, let me ration. And then it's like, okay, I'll get toxic shock syndrome.
Yeah, literally.
Not that I'm doing that.
No, but it's our problem.
And I swear to God, they're locked up, too. In the city, I feel like they might be locked up. So then it's, like, also that, like, hey, unlock this for me.
Yeah, I used to be so embarrassed in my period as growing up when I first got it. It was
valid.
A big no-no. I was, like, because I didn't know what it was.
Valid.
And I was so scared of it, and, like, I didn't know if my friends had it. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to leak. Like, that was one of my biggest problems. And it was so embarrassing.
Yeah, it's bad. Now it's, like, chill.
I felt like it was very hush-hush, because boys don't want to hear about that. But, like, screw that. They can hear about it. Like, why do we have that?
Us?
Have you had any experience with differences between men and women in a workplace or in school? Or, like, the way that classmates have treated you, or...
In
friends?
school, we had this one teacher who, personally, I loved, and she loved me. But she would, like, low-key, like, flirt with the guys, and it's, like, so funny to think about. So, like, they'd be, like, doing whatever they wanted in class, and it was, like, not a big deal. But then, like, a girl would do, like, one thing, and it's, like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, do your work. Which is really funny to see, because she's, like, a grown woman.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like I had 2 teachers like that. We had one teacher who literally would, like, break the dress code, and it's, like, girl, what are you doing?
Oh my god, can we talk about dress code for a second?
My school never enforced it, really, except one time my cousin did get sent home for, like, a stupid reason. But, like, they didn't really enforce it for us. And if they did, send me home then. Like, I'll go home gladly.
I got dress coded once. 7th grade, I will never forget it. I was wearing shorts
Yeah.
and a cute flowy top.
Yeah.
And it was a female teacher.
It's always them, too, which
always
is, like, kind of weird.
the old women. And I'm like,
honey.
like, if a male teacher did that to me, I think I would be even more sketched out and just scared and would have just
Honestly,
gone.
I would have been, like, embarrassed.
I
But,
would've
like,
been
a
so
woman
embarrassed.
doing that is, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like, we're learning English. Like,
No, literally,
My
like, go get your
shorts-
grammar book out. Like, calm down, I'm wearing clothing.
so the reason I got sent home was because my shorts were too tight. And
Oh my
I was
God,
wearing
that's so
jean
stupid.
shorts. And they were at
Like,
my
flowy,
fingertips.
also, though, like, flowy jean shorts weren't a thing then. Like, if you're wearing boxy jean shorts then, like, you're
Yeah.
gonna get bullied.
Yeah.
Like, you're just trying to fit in. Like, do you want me to be bullied, or do you want to just have
Right.
my shorts be a little tight? You're just trying to get an
I'm
education.
not going to wear Bermuda shorts to school. I'm sorry.
Ew.
I'm sorry. But they were not
What are you,
tight.
like,
They fit me. They were not too short. And trust me, like, other girls
have
had
had shorter stuff.
have
That's the other
worn
thing,
shorter.
too. It's funny to see, like, all the people who, like, they literally are wearing stuff that it's... Like, you can see their butt. But then sending home the girl who's wearing shorts that are a little bit above her fingertips, it's like...
is wild.
Pick priorities. If you're actually enforcing a dress code, pick your priorities. Like, in Madrid, we would go out to, like, clubs or whatever, and they would have, like, a dress code, and, like, here, too. It is funny to see that, because that's tailored to men. And it's,
What
like,
is?
like, the dress code for, like, going out.
What
like,
was
they,
it?
like, you can't wear tank tops, you can't wear shorts, you can't
For men
wear...
or for women?
For men.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, you can't wear tank tops, you can't wear shorts, you can't wear flip-flops, and then, like, women, it's just, like, I don't know, but, like, it's usually tailored towards men. So that, I will say, is, like, so funny
That's
to see.
so different, too.
I know.
Because it's also for, like, a party scene and
Yeah.
not, like, an educational setting.
That's, yeah.
Like, sorry, but my spaghetti straps are not distracting you.
No.
Your own brain is distracting you.
I think one thing that makes me giggle is when men complain about girls getting, like, pretty privilege.
Oh my gosh. Wait, can we talk about pretty privilege?
Because one time I was with my friends in Boston, and we were going on the train, and I didn't have a card, like a Charlie card, or like I had no money or whatever. But I was like, oh, like, guys, like, I'll just meet you downstairs. So the worker comes over and he was like, I'm going in the train. Why don't you follow me? And at the time, like, I never thought anything about it. I still don't. But I was like,
Yeah.
okay, purr. And then the next day I was like, oh my God, wasn't that guy so sweet? And they're like, are you kidding me? Like, that was pretty privilege. I was like, no, it wasn't. And they're like, yeah, it was. Like, he didn't do that for anyone else.
Oh my god.
And I was like, and like, low key, I was like, okay, he thinks I'm pretty. And then one of the guys we were with was annoyed the next day. And I was like, shut up.
I'm gonna say it. I think I like pretty privilege though.
Duh.
Like, out of
Hype me
everything
up.
that we've had to go through, I'm gonna accept pretty
Hype me up.
privilege.
Even, like, the safetiness of, like, I live in East Boston, where I live pretty residential. I feel safe, usually, but at the same time, I'm not gonna go walk on the street alone at 11 p.m. But when I was in Madrid, there was one time I was walking home from dinner alone, and it was, like, 12:30, and I felt completely fine. Like, I had my headphones in. I saw, like, 5 other girls walking home, like, fine. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
feel scared at all. Like, even working, if you're working in a restaurant and you're working till, what, midnight, like, closing,
Yeah.
how are you getting home?
Right,
It's terrifying.
At my work, like, I work at a golf course, and at the end of the night, on, like, a weekend night or something, it's late, and it's just me and my boss, who is a woman, and then all the people who are there as customers are guys, older men.
Yeah.
The pro shop guys, who are so sweet, and my boss always wait for me to, like, get to my car before they leave, because it's dark. We're in
Yeah.
a kind of not
great
area of town, and they're always like, are you okay to walk to your car? And I'm like,
And it's
it's
literally
right there.
10 feet, but still.
you don't know who's lurking out here.
No.
So I mean, I'm grateful
People are
that
crazy.
people are protective
But
of
they
me,
shouldn't
but
have
why?
to.
Why are
We shouldn't have to be scared to walk 10 feet in the dark alone.
like, for example, this past, like, week, my friends and I went out in Worcester, and It was a 3-minute walk to the next bar we wanted to go to. And we literally were walking so fast, running, like, would look at every, like, indent in the street to make sure that no one was there. And we were yelling, I have pepper spray, I have a knife, like, because it's a sketchy part of town, and we're like, it wouldn't be uncommon for someone to just snatch us.
One time I was walking home from the gym with my roommate at noon on a Sunday, and I'm walking home, I'm, like, post-gym, so I'm sweating and whatever, and I ended up taking my t-shirt off. Like, I had a sports bra underneath, which is, like, fine to wear in public.
Right.
And this man is yelling at me, and then we start walking faster, just, like, whatever. And then he got up and is still, like, yelling at us, following us. And I'm starting to freak out. My roommate is, like, freaking out, but trying to keep me calm because it's, like, after me. So we kept walking faster and faster, and then we got to, like, a stoplight, and I was freaking out that he was going to catch up to us. Granted, he definitely was... He was drinking out of a
brown
paper bag, so whatever. And then we got home and we told her boyfriend, and he was like, if I was there, I would have killed him. And it's like, you can't even do that as a man, because then it just falls back onto us. Like, then I'll be the one to get hurt.
Right. Like, going to college, we got pepper spray. We got these little things to put on our keychain that, like, if you pull it, it makes, like, a really big noise. And you always have to, have your key, buddy system, have your key on you in case, like, anything. And that's what we're trained to do, which is so messed up.
It's gross.
I'm grateful that I know what to do in a situation, but at the same time, if that was happening to me, I would freak out.
You're not doing any of that.
Now we're going to do our silly little back and forth segment. There's this trend on TikTok that kind of went viral like a while ago, but I thought it would be funny if we did it. There's a sound that's like, this is for girls only. So the rules are, no one is allowed to get offended.
It's just silly.
It's just silly. Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
No show socks.
Enough.
Like, why are you hiding? Like, why are you showing off your ankles like that?
Just wear regular
wear
socks.
Like, you're not wearing anything that needs no shows.
The passenger seat of a car is for a girl. Passenger princess all the way.
Valid.
Being cold is for girls only. If you're cold, boys don't get cold. They're not allowed. Wear a coat. Stop shivering.
Yeah. Having to pee really bad.
Oh my god. Like,
shut
just
up.
pee.
No, literally, you can just pee wherever you want. Pee.
Like, we can't.
No,
so we're gonna
pee.
complain about it. Like, complaining is for girls only too.
Valid.
Like
whining.
Whining. Hiccups are for the girls only.
I don't think I've ever seen a man with hiccups either.
I have. Hiccups on a girl are, like, cute.
It's like...
And you're like, oh, that's so silly.
That's so silly. Oh, blankets.
Blankets.
Like, being on the couch with a blanket.
With a blankie?
Yeah!
That's for girls. That's being a picky eater.
Valid. If you're a man picky eater,
like,
shut
just
up.
eat the food.
Shut up.
Like,
a bathrobe.
A bathrobe. That's a good one.
I love my bathrobe.
I love my bathrobe. It's so cozy.
Unless it is for, like cozy vibes. But, like, if you're just getting out of the shower and that's what you put on.
No, just wear the towel.
Just wear the towel.
Oh, I got one.
What?
Long fingernails.
Oh, yeah. What are you doing?
Are for girls only. If you're
Unless
a man,
you're, like...
in general...
Cut them.
Don't have long nails.
Just cut them.
Just cut them.
Like, stressing out over your outfit.
Oh, yeah,
like,
that's
how
a good
difficult
one.
is it for a man?
Just put on the t-shirt.
Because, like, whatever you're wearing, like, it's gonna be chill. Like, a girl, you have to, like, accessorize. And, like, literally, you just bottom, top, shoe, done.
Before we go, Sab,
yes,
can you give our listeners a lasting piece of advice?
Certainly. Live in your world. So, my friend tells me every day, like, we're in Sabrina's world today. Like, it's Sabrina's world. Live in your world. Wow. It's your world.
Be your main character.
Yeah. Just, like, walk with your head higher. Present how you want to present. Like, it's for you. Like, you're in your world. Everyone's just in your world.
And while we may always have that thought of, I wish I knew, whether it be about college, relationships, or girlhood, we can always look back and appreciate the things that we have learned. Because if you knew then what you know now, I guarantee you wouldn't be in the place you are today.